Now that you're locked into watching an educational video essay about grass, let's start by talking about something that's not grass: cannibalism. When Europeans first came to America, their plan was
Did not see that coming. How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We're going to be checking out why American lawns all look the same. The channel's half as interesting. Definitely a good channel. I've done some reactions by them before, of course. And go ahead and hit like. The original, the link to the original video will be in that description section down below as always. And this one struck me as interesting because I got a massive lawn. In fact, I got two. I got a front yard and I got a backyard, and I'm tired of dealing with it. It's too much. It's too big. I mean, I'm like half sunburnt right now. I spent the last 2 days, hours at a time, the last 2 days, trimming, pruning trees, you know, mowing the yard, weed eating the yard, pulling weeds. I'm getting like sunspots and freckles, and just, it's not good on my face being out there in 90-degree Fahrenheit. I don't know what that is in Celsius, but it's hot, okay? Whatever hot is, that's what that translates to. It's hot out there, and I'm tired of the lawn. So we're going to find out why American lawns all look the same. So let's check it out.
the #1 irrigated crop in America is not corn, it's not soy, it's not high-quality educational YouTube content. It is, in fact, grass. A crop we cannot eat, that cannot support an ecosystem, and frankly, doesn't even look that cool. Now, that might not sound too shocking to you. Grass—
and it won't stop growing. Like, I mean, I can look out the window right now. It almost looks like it needs mowed. Give it like 2 more days, it needs mowed. I mowed it 2 days ago, and probably in 2 days, it's going to be like a foot tall, and it's going to need mowed again. Just a waste of gas, waste of time, waste of hours of my time. We're thinking about doing a food forest in the back. I don't know what we're going to do in the front yard. People's mentioned let it go back to nature. Well, that would be great, but every time it gets like beyond like 7-8 inches tall, like the neighbor across the street decides to be nice and come over and mow it. Doesn't even ask or say anything. We just go outside and he's just out there mowing. So even if we tried to do that, they wouldn't even, nobody around would want that. They all would be like looking down on us because our yard's not perfectly manicured. So I don't know what I'm going to do. Honestly, I'm thinking about maybe just planting a whole bunch of apple trees out front. Turn it into an apple orchard. I don't know. Not sure yet.
Grass is everywhere. It's natural. When you boot up a new Minecraft world, you'll be met with thousands and thousands of blocks of grass. Yeah. That's how nature works, right? Well, no. At least not on this continent. In fact, pretty much all of the grass covering the United States wasn't there a few hundred years ago. Our obsession with this little green plant was a choice, and the iconic American lawn is actually a fairly new invention. But how did grass become the default plant of the American suburb, and why do we spend billions of dollars and millions of acres farming a crop that doesn't actually do anything? Well, now that you're locked into watching an educational video essay about grass, let's start by talking about something that's not grass: cannibalism. When Europeans first came to America, their plan was—
Did not see that coming. We're going to talk about something that's not grass. Cannibalism. Okay, let's do it.
Simple. Find whoever was already there, give them smallpox, and then rely on them for food supplies for the next several decades. This didn't work, and within 2 years, the Europeans had resorted to eating each other. The taste of settler got old quickly, and they started importing livestock.
Is that real? Did they wow. Did we start eating each other? I gotta go back.
Rely on them for food supplies for the next several decades. This didn't work, and within 2 years, the Europeans had resorted to eating each other. The taste of settler got old quickly, and they started importing livestock.
The taste of settler got old quickly. Yeah, yeah, wow.
The problem with this second plan was the same as the first plan, though. There was still nothing to eat. Most of the native grasses in New England, like broom sedge or switchgrass, would only grow in warmer months, and the cows would basically drive them to extinction, bringing all the cows with them, and then all the settlers again. So the American colonies were really only able to stabilize after the import of foreign grasses like perennial ryegrass, Bermuda grass, and Kentucky bluegrass. Yes, that's right, Kentucky bluegrass is from Algeria.
Wow. Not Kentucky. I didn't know that. I don't know what kind of grass I have. I know whatever kind it is, it grows really, really fast. So it's definitely a faster growing variety, and I do not like it. Clovers would be cool. Somebody did mention that, that I could just fill the yard with clovers. That'd be great. I don't know how to do that though, but that's an interesting thought. It'd make me feel like I'm in Ireland or something. That'd be great. Ireland looks cool.
That state had exactly one thing going for it, and it was a lie. Now, that explains how modern grass
That state has more than grass going for it, guys. KFC. Come on, how can you forget about KFC?
grass and Kentucky bluegrass. Yes, that's right, Kentucky bluegrass is from Algeria. That state had exactly one thing going for it, and it was a lie. Now, that explains how modern grass got here, but doesn't explain why 80% of American homeowners have a useless empty square of it sitting in front of their house.
Now, I've heard that the big lawn, okay, was a way to flaunt your wealth, because back in the day, anybody that had any amount of land was growing vegetables, farming on it, whatever. Like, land was super expensive in old world Europe. And that's, I guess, where it started. And the rich people, rich aristocrats or whatever, was like, you know what? We're just going to buy a bunch of land, do nothing with it, just make it look nice, maintain it, just to rub it in people's faces that don't have it. I don't know how true that is. We're going to find out. Maybe this person will touch base on that. I don't know.
And to explain where that came from and why a bizarre number of people are still legally bound to keep that square alive is a little more complicated. When America first started to urbanize, homes were built European style, close to the street with private gardens in the back and cigarette-smoking children in the front. But as long-distance trains became increasingly popular and started to bring people outside their immediate town or city, neighborhoods needed a way to signal to wealthy traveling outsiders that they were high-status areas, and one of the easiest ways to do this was with lawns. Why? Well, because the only way to make grass grow back then was to throw money at it. Not literally, but it was expensive. In most parts of the country, these foreign grasses weren't necessarily built to survive, and there weren't pesticides or chemical fertilizers to keep them alive. Maintaining a healthy lawn of Kentucky bluegrass required constant replanting and around-the-clock maintenance, both clear signals of wealth. Basically, grass became popular because of how bad it was. If you could defy nature for no reason other than to tell people you were rich, you were probably rich. But then things got weirder. Over here in Long Island, New York, a guy named William Levitt founded a town called Levittown around the beginning of the 1950s. There was an ongoing affordable housing crisis, and Levitt had set out to solve it. He created an assembly line construction method for building a suburb, putting up a brand new identical house roughly every 16 minutes, and each and every house came with a lawn. Now,
yeah, screw that guy. I hate the suburbs.
This was partly to make these homes seem—
Look at that. Come on now. Look at that. That's terrible.
16 minutes, and each and every house came with a lawn. Now, this was partly to make these homes seem more deluxe than they actually were, and managed to distract people from the fact that Levittown didn't, for example, have basic plumbing, but it was also bizarrely a political move. Lawns, it turns out, are a weirdly good tool for social control. Levitt distributed strict pamphlets on lawn care to every single resident and placed a covenant in their deeds that required them to mow their lawns at least once a week between the months of April and November. If they failed to do so, he would have their lawns cut and charge them for it. If that sounds—
That's how towns do a lot of times. If you live in a city or a town around here, and it's like, why? It's my yard. Let me do whatever the hell I want to do with it. If I don't want to cut it, I shouldn't have to cut it. Maybe I want a meadow out there with grass that's 3 foot tall, 4 foot tall. Maybe that's what I want. Who are you to tell me I have to do this with my yard? To come into my yard and mow it for me, unannounced, and then charge me for it? I don't know. Not on board with it.
Creepy and conformist, that was exactly the idea. Levitt wanted to convince the government that his suburb was keeping people in line because they were subsidizing all of his housing and essentially letting him rewrite whatever zoning codes he wanted. The idea was, if you were busy enough mowing your lawn, you wouldn't have time to read Das Kapital. That's not even a joke. It sounds like a joke, but that's literally what they thought would happen, and—
Hold on. No man who owns his home and lot can be a communist. He has too much to do. Okay, well, there you guys have it. I'm clearly not a communist. My yard's too big. I don't have time to be a communist. Oh, wow.
Das Kapital. That's not even a joke. It sounds like a joke, but that's literally what they thought would happen, and they were basically right. Given the success of Levittown, it became the blueprint for new affordable suburbs all over the country, and the creepy anti-communist grass stuff came baked right in. Homeowners associations, which all started popping up a few years after Levittown to privately manage suburbs around the country, still enforce many of these same sorts of regulations that Levitt put into place, which is why we still go around arresting people for letting their grass grow wrong, even though we can't even remember why we cared about that in the first place.
It's not just homeowners associations, it's towns, town boards, communities. Everybody wants to dictate what you do with your yard, and it sucks because, like I said, I couldn't even allow the front yard to go back to nature. I couldn't do it because it wouldn't matter. The neighbor across the street would just come over and mow it anyways. He would just insist. I mean, I'm grateful, sure, like whatever. I don't have to do it when he does, but still, it's mine. Don't do that, please.
So there you go. The reason your parents have a small patch of this particular plant in front of their house is because 200 years ago this plant was really hard to maintain, which turned it into a status symbol, which was used to lure boomers into horrible factory houses with no plumbing, which were in turn used to distract them from learning what the phrase means of production meant. Mystery solved. But here's another mystery.
Okay.
How do you cook for one person without wasting a huge amount of food and money? Well, the answer to that mystery is simple. Hello Fresh.
So go check out HelloFresh, or you can just take your food waste and put it into a compost pile, which would in turn help you maintain your flower bed, your gardens, or whatever. So anyways, you guys have a super fun, awesome day. Don't be a communist. Go mow your yard. I'll catch you in the next one. Take care. Bye.